So everyone should experience this life. Everyone should experience being detached from material sense gratification, being detached from possessions, being detached from struggles for power and all this false identity in the material world. If we let go of this false identity, then we're in a position to realize our true identity. Our true identity is, I am a devotee of God. I'm a servant of God. I am a worshiper. I'm not competing with other people to try to get worship or to try to get service. No, I'm the servant. I'm the worshiper. I'm giving to God. We had a discussion about this online last night. Neville was posting, trying to understand the difference between accepting God as a father and accepting God as a son. And he was saying, well, isn't this basically the same relationship, just kind of turned around the other way? And actually, no, it's not. Because when we approach God as a father, we are begging some service from Him. Oh God, please protect me. Please save me. Please give me this, give me that. Help me in this way or help me in that way. We're taking shelter of God. We're taking God's protection. We're taking God's resources, and we're asking Him to intervene on our behalf. Okay? We're receiving service from God. When we approach God as a father, just like when a child approaches the father and asks for something, I want a new toy, or I want, please help me in some way, or protect me in some way. The child is receiving service from the father. That's the relationship between father and child. The father is protecting and taking care of the child because the child can't protect or care for himself. So in our system of transcendental relationships, this is known as neutrality. Neutrality is when we are asking for service from God, or at least we're not giving any service to God. Maybe just lip service, prayers and honor and obeisances and stuff like that. But we're not offering any practical service. That's called neutrality. But when we actually offer service, then our real spiritual life begins. Then our actual transcendental identity is revealed. Then who am I? I'm a spirit soul. I'm already eternal. I'm already full of knowledge. Nothing can destroy me. Nothing can even really harm me. You can harm my body, but you can't harm me. I'm transcendental. So that means I can give service unlimitedly. I have nothing that I really need for myself, but I can always give something because I have this energy, this life energy, this energy of existence and consciousness eternally. So let me give happiness to others. Let me give service to others. That should be our mood. That's the mood of a real spirit soul. Let me give something. What's the most valuable thing that I can give? Let me give that. Whatever abilities I have, whatever resources I have, let me give service to others, and especially service to God. So, real spiritual life begins with servitude or servitorship. Means offering God service. And of course in the scriptures there's so many guidelines for this service. We're not going to go into all that in great detail. Just the principle is that we should offer our service to God, beginning with this karma yoga. But then after servitorship, what's next? Friendship. And being a friend of God is one of the 9 processes of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, friendship, Atmanivedanam, surrendering everything. So, being a friend of God or offering one's friendship to God is an important part of our devotional service. How do we do that? Well, what does friendship mean? I like Plato's definition. A friend is someone with whom you have a common interest, a common cause, and you share everything for the benefit of that common interest. So we naturally have a common interest with God because He's the spiritual source and we're the emanation from Him. He is our origin, our basis, our creator, our maintainer. He's our Father in one way, but in another way, He's our best friend because we should have a common interest together. And what is a common interest? To advance in spiritual life. Krishna wants us to come out of this material world and realize ourselves as a spirit soul. And that's actually our best interest also. So when we serve that interest, we're acting as a friend of God. By preaching, by teaching, by serving this esoteric teaching community and lineage, we're actually acting as a friend of God. More than just a servant. Because a servant will simply maybe chant and everything and perform some service in their own house very privately. But someone who's a friend of God will go out and try to recruit other people in that service as well. That's the difference. So then beyond that, you can become a parent of God. This is called Vatsalya Rasa. Vatsalya Rasa means I take some responsibility for this service of God. Not only that I just try to engage others in His service, but I take some responsibility for that service. I make a community, or I make a sangha, or I publish some books, or I do something responsible in practical terms. And in the spiritual world, of course, there are many fathers and mothers of Krishna, and He takes all kinds of service from them, very responsible service. They're the ones who actually maintain the whole spiritual existence and make so many nice festivals for Krishna's pleasure and cook for Him and do so many services for Him. And then He manifests a form as a young boy and becomes their son. Why? Because He likes to accept their service in that mood. This is pleasure for God. It's more pleasurable for Krishna to take actually a subordinate role to his devotee than to lord it over his devotee as the supreme controller. In other words, it's more pleasurable for Krishna to be the son of the devotee than for him to be the father. Because as the father, he has to give protection, he has to give service. And as the son, he gets to receive service, he gets to receive protection from his devotee. So this is actually a completely different mood. It's a completely different status in devotional service, a much higher status than someone who thinks, oh, I'm just the son of God, and then I have to go to God for protection and like that. Yes, it's true. While we're in this material world, God protects us, and He gives us so many facilities and takes care of us in so many ways. That's more or less automatic. He's protecting all living entities that way. But He especially is interested in protecting His devotee. Why? Because His devotee is His friend. And then, more than that, if we take some responsibility in His service and say, okay, I'm going to establish a preaching mission, or I'm going to establish a spiritual community for the service of God. At that point, we actually become like His Father, especially when we're responsible for deity worship. When the deity is here, we cook for Him, we put Him to bed at night, we bathe Him in the morning, we offer all kinds of different service to Him, just as if He was living here, personally, because He is. Anywhere the form of God is present, then God is there also. So you'll see next week that we'll have our deities here, and we'll be serving them very nicely with offering ceremonies of all different kinds of beautiful offerings and food and so many things to them. So this is actually taking the role of a parent, isn't it? Like if somebody's living here and we're feeding him, we're giving him clothes, we're taking care of him, entertaining him, talking to him, making sure that he has everything that he needs. It's like being a father, isn't it? Because that person becomes dependent on us. To have dependence means to be like a parent. Maybe you're not actually their parent, but you're playing the role of a parent. So when we have deity worship going on, that means we're taking the role of a parent of God, because God actually becomes dependent on us for his service. So this is a higher platform of service, or a higher platform of spiritual realization than simply serving God, or even being God's friend, surrendering everything, and so on. This is the role where we take responsibility for his happiness, and we make sure that he has